Kai here with Kaitaku. Happy New Year. I am so excited to celebrate 2021 with you all and to spend a new year with all of you. I had a very stressful December for it to have been the end of the year, and we got some reading done, so I am proud of myself there. But it was not what I had planned when I started the beginning of the month. So I participated in 25 days of manga this month, and I got about, 13 days in, and it just all fell apart. And so I got like 10-ish days of posts, and then it all kind of fell apart, and then I was like trying to catch up with the reading. We did not make it to 25 volumes of manga by the 25th day, by Christmas, but we did get 25 volumes of manga read in the month of December. So I am proud of me. Definitely did not hit all of the prompts. I don't even know if I hit half the prompts. I hit at least 10 of them, but I kind of ended up just like wanting to finish the 25 volumes in the month of December, and I did. So first up, digitally, I read The Anatomist. So Anatomist, I'm not quite sure, it's about anatomy, but this was a volume, I'm really not quite sure how to describe it. It was not my cup of tea. I was not a fan of this volume. It may be someone else's cup of tea, but when the mangaka has to give you an entire page worth of basically trigger warnings, then, I probably should have known going into this. It was not my cup of tea. It was not, there's some mutilation, there's some grooming, there's a lot of toxic relationships and abuse, and it's a one shot, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about any more coming out. But it was not my cup of tea. Someone else may enjoy it. The artwork was beautiful. I will say that. I did enjoy the artwork. I just did not enjoy the story. So I also read digitally A Gentle Noble's Vacation Recommendation. This was absolutely adorable. And so I picked up volume 1 on my Kindle because I actually got volume 2. I was granted permission by Tokyo Pop to read an advanced reader's copy of volume 2, and I loved it. This series is absolutely adorable. We've got our noble Lizelle, who is in some other world. He's trying to get to know what this world is about, the people, the culture, all of that. And he finds Gil, who is an adventurer, and he hires Gil to show him around. And so this is Lizelle trying to figure out what is going on in this country, trying to figure out the people. He becomes an adventurer. It is great. Of course, that means I picked up volume 2, the advanced reader copy. Loved it. It is coming out January 16th. I highly, highly recommend it. If you are a fan of it gave me really big Don Machi vibes. So like, Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon? Really strong vibes there. So if that was your jam, you're really going to enjoy this as well. It's a little more lighthearted, a little less battles, a lot less battles, but you still got your adventurers going into the dungeon. I can tell that the first 2 works are a build up to something. I'm just not quite sure what it's building up to, so we don't have a whole bunch of happenings yet, but it's the first 2 volumes. So, they've got to lay out the characters, they've got to lay out the land, and I can tell we're building up to something soon. So those are the 3 volumes that I read digitally. I also read, because I did hit my 25, I read Forget Me Not Volume 1. So Forget Me Not Volume 1 is about a young man who gets into an accident, and he gets into an accident because he's distracted while driving on his scooter because he sees a girl from his past, or he thinks he does. And then he crashes, and as he's kind of passing out, she calls for the ambulance, but she doesn't go with him to the hospital. And so he's trying to figure out who she is. Who from his past is she? And he thinks it's a girl that he basically messed over in his past. And so this first book kind of touches into the first two girls that he's thinking of may have been people that he wronged in the past. I'm not particularly feeling the first volume. I've read the back of the second volume and it seems more interesting. Of course, you know, first volumes are all about setting up the character, setting up the place. And so I'm going to keep reading. I have the entire series, so I'm going to keep reading and see if I end up enjoying this series. Next was Midnight Stranger. Midnight Stranger is a BL manga, and it is about our guy here, Rio, who is a black goat spirit, and then we've got Zu, who is a god, and so Rio was abandoned by humans and basically like burned because they thought he was causing a plague. He is saved by Zu, and it's kind of their life years and years later. I believe it's a duology. I'm not sure. I know I bought the second volume and it is on its way to me, I believe. But I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the art style, and I am interested to see how that one continues going. Next, we have False Memories. False Memories is also a BL, and False Memories is about these two who were in a relationship in high school. And that relationship ended badly. Well, so they were friends in high school. They kind of hooked up. And then after they hooked up, this guy, make sure I'm looking right, this guy gets a girlfriend. And this guy takes it as an affront to him. And so they stop being friends. It's now years later. They are adults. He builds toys and he works for a company that markets toys. And so their companies are now working together. And so he is pursuing his love again. And of course, he's trying to avoid him because he's like, hey, you broke my heart for it, never go. So this is adorable. I have gone and gotten, I intend to get the rest of this series. And I enjoyed this one and cannot wait for more. Next, we've got Awkward Silence, Volume 1. Awkward Silence Volume 1 is about these two in high school. This young man here is unable to show his emotions, so everything comes off as like a blank face. And then this guy is like the star baseball player, pitcher guy in school. And so he confesses his feelings for him. He's completely shocked. And so now they're just kind of navigating their relationship together. I have gotten the rest of the volumes of this because it was absolutely adorable. And I love the two of them together. Next, we have Punch Up, which is, I believe, an older BL just from the art style. The art style is definitely very like late 90s. It's very like 90s-ish to me. And so Punch Up was interesting. It looks like it is a spin-off of this mangaka's other series. What is the name of the other series? Playboy Blues. And so going into this, I was extremely confused. Even though the mangaka warned me that this was a spin-off, there's definitely relationships and situations that happened in Playboy Blues, which does not look like it was in English. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to find it. If it was in English, it is super, super out of print. That made some of this confusing to me because I had not read Playboy Blues. I'm not quite sure I'm going to continue this one. I usually try to give manga 2 or 3 volumes to decide whether or not I like it. It's going to be down on my list before I get another volume. Next, I read a series which I've been meaning to read, and I finally got around to reading it, and I love it so much, and that is Twittering Birds Never Fly. So I read volumes 1, volume 2, and volume 3 in anticipation of volume 4. Volume 4 came out in December. I have heard rumblings that we're getting a physical copy, and so the digital copy has already come out, and I'm waiting to see if we're actually going to get a physical copy. If there is going to be a physical copy, of course I'm going to get it to add to it, but if it turns out we're not, I'm still going to get the digital copy. There's 6 volumes all together, but so far just the first 4 have been printed in English, and I think it's been like 10 years since 3 to 4 of getting it printed in English. So very excited. This is about our mob boss Yashiro and his new guard Domeki, and it is a very complicated relationship. Yashiro was abused as a child and has basically grown into someone who enjoys abuse and enjoys abuse in his physical relationships. And you have Domeki, who also had some trauma, which left him impotent. And their relationship is very interesting. You can kind of see both of them softening to the other from their trauma. And so Ko Yanida writes extremely dark things. So far, everything that I've read from this mangaka has been dark, and that's kind of their signature, and this does not disappoint. It's still just as dark, but I enjoyed it. And Sentai Filmworks Networks they released the Twittering Birds Never Fly film in December. Still need to watch it. Very excited. I also read Prince Freya Volume 2 and Prince Freya Volume 3. This series is amazing. I cannot understate how great this series is. I mean, this series, we've got the battle going on. We've got Freya, who now has to be the prince because the prince was poisoned and died back in Volume 1. And so seeing Freya kind of come into her own and come into now being the prince, and what this means for the people of her country, what this means for her guards, what this means for her as a person, growing up and trying to be stronger. This is such a good series. There are so many complex characters with so many complex emotions, and really, I was right there with it. My 3 sizes too small heart couldn't take it. I cannot wait for the next volume, and I think it's on hiatus, so I may cry. I also read Watakoi, Love is Hard for an Otaku, Volume 4. And I read Volume 3, going a little bit out of order. I enjoyed these 2 volumes more than I did 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 kind of are the volumes that are mostly what the anime is, and I enjoyed the anime better than volumes 1 and 2. But volumes 3 and 4, I definitely enjoyed. I think because I got used to the mangaka style, which is like chapters about this couple, chapters about this couple, and chapters about our first main couple are kind of like sequenced. And so the chapters about this couple are in order for that couple, but like in between those chapters are the other couple's stories. And so it made it seem like it was jumping. But now that I've kind of gotten used to that style, I am in love with this series. I know it took a long time for us to get Volume 4, so I'm interested to see how long it's going to take us to get Volume 5, but I'm ready to continue reading that. Another series that I picked up and I read all that I have in my possession is Hirojime My Hero. Hirojime My Hero is a BL. I absolutely loved the anime. It was so good, so well done. And I own the first 4 volumes, so I read all 4. This series, it makes me struggle a little bit because I am not a fan of age gaps. I do not like age gaps, and these 2 have a pretty big age gap. He's like 16, he's like 25, 26, somewhere around there. I have problems with that. I have big problems with that. I don't like it at all. However, I really like this series. We've been kind of overlooking some of that for this series. Their interactions are very well balanced, especially, right here, while he is the adult, Kusuke is young at heart, I guess. I don't know. Their interactions, you can tell at times that he is growing up and maturing more, and that he is allowing him the room to do so, as well as, tempering his feelings and tempering the balance between the two of them. So they play very well off of each other in the series. They play very well with, you know, the brother and his guy, as well as the rest of the friend group. And so it's a very good slice of life. I just have to suspend my just utter distaste for this age gap, because I'm going to get the rest of the series. I like it. I enjoy it. We're going to keep reading. Another book that I got that I just think is absolutely adorable, and I love it so much, is My Androgynous Boyfriend. My Androgynous Boyfriend was so cute. I cannot wait to get volume 2. I just love it so much. And so this is the main couple. It's her and that's her boyfriend, which is him on the front. And so he is really into fashion and makeup and modeling and all that. So he's a model by trade. He also works at a clothing store. And then she works as a reporter at a journal or a magazine. And so she writes articles and things as a reporter. Their dynamic is absolutely adorable, because she just finds him to be the absolute cutest. She thinks everything he does is cute and adorable, and she is working so hard, and he's just there to support her. Like, she comes home exhausted from a day of work, and he's like helped with the laundry and the clothes, but then like they've both got different parts of the relationship that they take care of. She like brings the food. It's such a real life couple, and it's such a healthy real life couple, and I need more healthy real life couples in my life. And so we'll definitely be getting volume 2, My Androgynous Boyfriend. One of the best slice of lives that I've read in a while. Look, not much is happening. We're not really here for the plot. We're here for the cuteness. We're here for their interactions. We're here for their day-to-day life, and we got it, and I love it, and I need more. The last 5 volumes of manga that I read, I love. This was a good month. I liked most of what I read this month. I'm very excited about that now that I'm hashing back through it. And that is LDK volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, and volume 5. So I got these, I think, during the Right Stuff birthday sale. This set of 5 was a bundle, and the rest of the series was in a bundle. And I was like, Kai, you don't know if you're going to like it, so just buy the first bundle. Love it. Absolutely love it. Immediately went and bought the last 10 volumes because it is complete at 15. Immediately went and bought the last 10 volumes, and thankfully they were on sale at Right Stuff. So we did not pay just out of our nose for the last 10 volumes. Thank goodness they were on sale. But this series is the shoujo love that I was just looking for. I am enjoying this dynamic. These two are in high school, and they are living in the same apartment complex. Somehow she ends up flooding his apartment, and so now they have to live together. And so they work because she doesn't like him, or at least she didn't like him when we started. Her best friend liked him. He was completely rude to her best friend in writing her off. And so she hated him. And he's like, finally, a girl who doesn't like me just because I'm pretty. And so like they develop this friendship, and we're slowly seeing her fall for him and wondering whether or not he's going to fall for her back, because their whole relationship is kind of built off of the fact that this is the one girl who is actually trying to get to know me instead of just thinking I'm pretty and wanting to date me like everybody else. And so I love it. I've loved a lot of things this month. This month was a good month. Yay. This month was a good month. I didn't really think about it while it was happening. This month was stressful. I cannot tell you how stressful this month was, but I'm so glad that I found so many volumes that I enjoyed. So I am ready for the rest of this series to come. I think that I'm going to do a video on this when I'm done. I'm not quite sure yet because it could disappoint me in the end. And who knows, maybe I will do my first rant video. You never know. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think I'm going to love it. I hope I'm going to love it. I really want to love this. So that was all 25 volumes of manga that I read this month. Shout out to me. I also read Certain Reprisal by Kevin Macklin. And so this is a short thriller. It's about 200 pages. Short thriller in the John Doe series. If you are interested in like thriller, crime, crooked cop, sort of type stories, this is the short story for you. And then last but not least, I finished this chunk-a-monk. I finally finished the Inheritance trilogy. So this is all three of N.K. Jemisin's Inheritance trilogy in one hefty book along with the short story. So my book club and I have been reading this one book a month. And so in December, we read the last book. And then for January, the first week of January, we're supposed to read the short story, but I went ahead and read it, and now I am finished. So I have finished this hefty brick. It is done. It was a wild ride. I definitely say the Inheritance trilogy is very, very interesting. It is a fantasy. We are dealing with gods and godlings and demons and mortals and everything in between. I really liked book one. Book one was awesome. I liked book two. And then book three was kind of like, meh. And then the short story was kind of cute. I enjoyed the short story. So all in all, I definitely would highly recommend the Inheritance trilogy if fantasy is your jam. If adult fantasy is your jam. Adult fantasy. Do you know how hard it is to find adult fantasy, especially from BIPOC authors? N.K. Jemisin, amazing. We are reading all of her published works in my book club. So I am excited to see what other journeys she takes me on, because this was a wild ride. Hi everyone, Editing Kai here. I cannot believe that I forgot like my most entertaining book read of December, and that is The Space Between Worlds. The Space Between Worlds was such a joy. Like, I cannot even begin to describe how much I enjoyed Micaiah Johnson's The Space Between Worlds. The Space Between Worlds is a sci-fi novel, and look at these beautiful sprayed edges that I got, and this one is signed. And it joins our main character, Kara. And our main character, Kara, is a traverser. So she is able to go between worlds. And so the back says, of the 380 realities that have been unlocked, Kara is dead in all but 8. So to be able to go to these other worlds yourself, because they're basically like replicas of our worlds, only different happenings, kind of like the whole paradox theory of every time you make a decision, you create another world. So when she goes to these other worlds, the only way that you can go and survive is if you are already dead there. Because if you go there and you're still alive, you kind of get this doppelganger flashback or blowback that basically kills you. So she has a job as a traverser, and she's very sought after because she's dead in almost all of the worlds. And so it makes it easier for her to go and collect data from these worlds. There are secrets. There is an amazing villain. I love the villain so much. This is the first time that I've actually gotten like an evil villain who is brilliant, smart, 2 steps ahead of everybody, and is evil for evil's sake. Like, we don't have this giant traumatic backstory. I mean, he grew up in a war, so, he's a little traumatized from that. But we don't have like this giant traumatic backstory that we can blame his being evil on. He's just evil. And that's what I'm looking for in a villain. Like, I just want my villain to be evil. And he was. We dabble in the lines of morality, good versus bad, what you're willing to witness and put up with, and where you draw the line of when you get involved and enough is enough. Definitely highly recommend The Space Between Worlds. If you have not read it, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I cannot believe I forgot it when I was originally recording this video. Back to Kai. And that ends all of the books that I read in December. I am pretty sure. I don't think I read anything else digitally. So it was still a pretty good month. I closed out the year strong, finished like my last 3 manga on the 31st going into the new year. I finished at like 10:30. So I am so proud of myself for actually getting 25 volumes read. I did not do it in the 25 days. I did not finish all of the 25 days of manga prompts, but I did finish 25 volumes of manga. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for that one. I hope you all enjoyed this. What are your reading goals for 2021? So is it to try a new series? Is it to finish collecting a series? What are your goals, your reading goals, whether it's manga or novel related? What are your reading goals for 2021? Let me know in the comments. I am very interested to hear what y'all's goals are for this year. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all the standard YouTube things, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!